Hello there, I am Cindiola with Sacred Garden Yoga. I just finished teaching class this morning. I wanted to jump on here and talk about what we talked about in class, and it has to do with the Yoga Sutras. So the 8 limbs of yoga, which are in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, are actually designed to shake things up and to disrupt things in our lives. When we think about yoga, we don't often think about yoga as a disruptive thing. You know, we might think about yoga, we might think about it's so restful and it's peaceful and harmony and all these things are involved, which in the end, that is the results that you want for the practice. But in order to get to that space, we must first begin to shake things up and disrupt the patterns and our habitual ways of thinking that keep us from perceiving and seeing clearly. The obscurities of our minds is what Patanjali called the kleshas. There are 5 kleshas or obscurities of the mind, and they're things like fear or wanting to keep things the same and the ignorance. Those are the gist of the kleshas. But basically the kleshas are the things that keep us from, again, seeing or perceiving clearly. And what they figured out, and it makes common sense when you think about it, right, is when we're not in a place of clear perception, and then we go and we take action and we make decisions from that place of miscomprehension or from that place of fear, the consequences of those actions are probably going to create some sense of suffering or some sense of misalignment. Yes? And so the sages and the ancient yogis and the philosophers back from the day figured out that we have to get our thoughts in alignment first to our highest truth, to our highest place of seeing and perceiving, so that then when we would take the actions and make the decisions, that the consequences and the results of those actions would also bring about that peace and that clarity that we were seeking. So it all started there in the mind, here in the mind, and that the mind, it sets the tone. It sets the tone for where we're going in our lives and what shows up in our lives. So the 8 limbs of yoga were created to help to disrupt the patterns and the habits that keep us in that loop of repeating the same thing over and over again and getting those same kind of results that keep us feeling stuck or stagnant, that keep us, perhaps stuck in fear, that keeps us from elevating ourselves. And they knew that we needed help in this. So they designed the 8 limbs of yoga to help diffuse some of that obscurity. When we think of the word disruption or we think of the word change, there's an aspect of us, especially when we think of the word disruption, that thinks of it as a bad thing, that moving things around, shaking things up, disrupting things, that's a negative thing. We shouldn't do that. We should keep things just kind of quiet. We shouldn't stir the pot, because if we stir the pot, then, God knows what's going to happen or what's going to come up. But that's the whole point of the yoga practice. So the 8 limbs of yoga, one of them is the asanas, which is what we normally know of as yoga, and that's the physical movement. Now, I'm not going in any particular order here. Okay, another one of the sutras, another one of the limbs of yoga is pranayama, which is our breath work. And our breath work is what helps to free up the constructs within our physical body, like the holding patterns within our physical bodies, in our minds as well. There's a dharana and dhyana, which is concentration and meditation. There is pratyahara, which is a control of your senses. So learning how to control your 5 senses instead of your 5 senses controlling you. There are the yamas and the niyamas, which are the social constructs that they gave us to help us navigate through how we relate to ourselves, and then also how we relate to other people. Yeah, so our path to enlightenment and our path to awakening isn't about staying the same. and keeping things going over and over again. As I get older in my life, I'm about to approach 50, so I'm definitely in that middle age of life. And I'm sure some of you can relate to this. You realize that you have to shift with your age and move with your time. Your body is going to require something different of you. Your relationships are going to require you to grow. Your businesses or the jobs that you do or anything else that you're involved in, they're going to require you to show up with new innovation and creativity. And it is that power of our own creativity that feeds our soul. If we start to feel stuck and stagnant, it's because we've somehow numbed ourselves from our own creative potential. And that creativity requires stimulation. It requires us to get up each day and decide that we need to generate the momentum and to generate the motivation in our lives. I was having a conversation earlier with a friend, and we were talking about inertia. I mean, inertia has its own law. All right, so that's just kind of the place where we go if we let it. And we've all experienced this. If we've been sitting on the couch and watching TV all day long, how it's almost like that couch sucks you in. Inertia feeds upon itself. So it requires us each day to get up and to practice and to decide what we are going to align to. And that may require us to shake things up and to disrupt the habits and the patterns that we've created. And we'll have to do that over and over and over again, because again, our life is a moving thing. Life isn't stagnant. You know, it doesn't stand still. It moves. And if we are to stay within the flow of life, it's going to require us to move with it. So yes, we might get, it's funny, you know, talking about the body, and especially as you get older, you know, you'll figure out like a good pattern, a good habit, like a way of eating, a way of exercising that's really working for your body. And then suddenly your body changes and it says, nope, you're going to have to shift things up again because what you require is different. And we need to be open to that. We need to be open to the seasons of our life and the changes and the cycles of our life, and to be willing to move with the flow of life instead of trying to resist it and hold it back, and to try to keep things the same because the same feels comfortable. Yes, that place of disruption and change, it's going to constantly take you into the place of the unknown, but the unknown doesn't have to be this scary place all the time. We can meet the unknown with a sense of wonderment and with what's possible on the other side. All right, so on your path to growth and to awaken into alignment, be willing to get up each day and ask those questions. What about me needs to perhaps change? How do I need to perceive things more clearly? What is it about my perception that needs to shift? What different action do I need to take today that's going to uh, move me with life and align me with my highest potential, with my most magical self, and with what's going to make me feel satisfied and fulfilled and happy and content? Because I can tell you, none of that is synonymous with being static and staying the same. All right. So just think about that as you continue to to create and to work toward your own personal growth and development. Thank you so much.